Hey, Gary Heathcote here, softwareforsolar.com. Hey, I've got a spreadsheet here that was started in my class, CAD for Solar. It's being offered through Pacific Technical College and the Solar Living Institute. I made up this sheet for the class, and I made it incomplete intentionally. This is my finished version, and I'm just sending it back out to my students and also putting it up for download, just as a demonstration of some simple stuff you can do with Excel to make the process of drawing a solar power system in AutoCAD easier, right? But the sheet is useful in itself also, as you'll see. The different sheets appear across the bottom on the tabs. Let's skip the config sheet for now and go to the modules sheet. Modules, this is just a list of modules, some of the more popular ones that are available. Nothing special here. In fact, the only computed values on these sheets are the price per watt figures, and that's a pretty simple computation. All right, same for the inverter sheet. Just a list of popular inverters. It's by no means complete. This is just an example. And again, there's a price per watt figure, but other than that, this is all just static data. All right. So what we do is now from these two tables, we create this config table. All right. So let's take a look at how it works. Up at the top, um, we have columns. One's labeled selected config, and then there's two columns labeled comparison config number 1 and number 2. The idea here is that you can actually select the module type, and it fills in the rest of the data. Okay, and then you can have a couple different options here, and it'll display the results. Okay, so that's the whole idea. You can compare a few different configs. All right. So the same thing for the inverter at the bottom. So you have a couple different options here that you can display at the same time, and you can sort of compare them side by side. All right. So the other things that you input on this sheet are the target power in watts, okay, and the number of strings. And so between those two, you can arrive at a configuration. Now, I realize this sheet is not it doesn't have everything you could possibly imagine on it. Again, I mainly intend this as an example. So it just gives you an idea of what can be done. So for example, you notice on this one over here at the end, I've got one string and a target of 4,000 watts. So given the power output of these modules, it's basically what it's telling me here is it's putting me over. All right, it's flagging the voltage as an error. Okay, so I can change that now to 2 strings, and notice the errors go away. So now it's a valid config. All right, so that's some of the ideas I was just presenting here. I was presenting the drop-down lists and the error flagging as just a couple of ideas. So where this really starts to get interesting is when we import to AutoCAD. And I'll show that in just a second here. We'll go over to the next sheets. Okay, so now the real fun begins. So what we're going to do is create title blocks first of all, and just use some of the data from the other sheets. We're just pulling data directly over. So this customer block sheet, it's just a basic customer information title block, nothing special here. And again, I've just pulled the data from the other sheets. There's no computation involved in this one, so I'm just going to copy the whole table. All right, go over to AutoCAD, and then edit, paste special, paste link, AutoCAD entities, OK. All right, the table comes up. It comes up really small. I'll need to rescale it, but let's just put it right down here below the origin. And as we can see, yep, it's there, all the data. OK. So let's go back over to Excel. OK, so that's the customer title block. Again, it's not very detailed, but this is just an example. All right, so now let's go over to the electrical data block. So I've just made a simple data block of some of the relevant information. I'm going to copy it. Now again, this is all looked up from the other sheets based on the selected config, right? Let's go back to config a minute. Okay, so the selected config was the SHOT Poly 220. All right, so we go back over to this electrical block. See, that's what appears here. If I go back and change that, it'll change this as well. All right, so let's go ahead and copy this, go back over to AutoCAD, and again, let's do a paste special, Okay, once again, there comes the table. All right. Now, these will update in AutoCAD if you change them in Excel. All right. Depending on the version of AutoCAD you have, sometimes it'll give you a little balloon pop-up that says your links have changed. But if you don't, if it doesn't happen, you can force it. You can basically come up to Tools, Data Links, Update Data Links, and that forces it. Okay. But of course, oh, and it comes down here. You have to type in a K. Just basically says all links, and it'll update all of them. Okay, but you have to go in, and when you make the change in Excel, you have to do a save, and then come back into AutoCAD and update the links. Then it'll update all this information. Okay, it's also possible to go the other direction, but I think it's less convenient. It's also difficult to do, so I'm not going to go into that. But you get the idea. Okay, now here's where it really gets interesting. What we're going to do on this sheet is we're going to create a script for actually drawing the modules. Okay, not only drawing just one module, but drawing the sample modules that are tilt compensated, or I should say shrunk, according to tilt angle. Okay, so bear with me if you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to copy this, and what I'm going to do is make a script out of this for AutoCAD. Okay, so I'm going to pull up Notepad, and actually I've already got it in here, but I'll just go ahead and paste it in again. All right, and I'm going to save it to a script file. All right, now I go into AutoCAD. Let me zoom out a bit so make sure you can see everything. And then I'm going to do a Tools, Run Script, and then I'm going to pick the script that I just created, and boom, there's my modules. So this is the unrotated, in other words, flat view module, and then this one here is actually foreshortened because it's tilted in portrait mode. Now, it's based on the tilt angle that I had in that first sheet, which was 24 degrees. All right, so for modules in portrait mode, this is the right size. If you're in landscape mode, notice it's foreshortened across the long axis for landscape mode. Okay, so, and again, this is all keyed off the stuff that I chose in there. All right, so I hope you find this helpful, and if you have comments or suggestions, please send them to me. The sheet should stay available on my website, which is softwareforsolar.com. Thank you.